Welcome to Larry's Library. And today we're taking a look at The Nice House on the Lake. Now this is a trade paperback. Yeah, you're seeing me review a trade. It happens. But this was another gift from my daughter for Christmas. And I read this one in 2 sessions. Finished it last night. And spoiler alert, I love it. But you know, I don't tend to review anything on here I don't love. The question then is the degree I love it and why. And I'm going to get right into it. So, this is 200 pages. It's list price $19.99. This is on DC's Black Label, formerly Vertigo. And like I said, this is a trade paperback. There are no hardcovers out for this yet. Got high hopes. But the creators on this one, it's the main one needs a little introduction. It's James Tynion IV. Now, a little bit about James Tynion. I mean, again, you all know him. Most people know him because he's a very celebrated writer. He's written a lot of great runs for a lot of things, and he just keeps writing. He's nearly as prolific as Jeff Lemire, I think, and he's starting to win awards too. He's got some Eisners under his belt. Great, great writer. I spent 10 minutes, only took 10 minutes, to figure out how to pronounce his last name. And I got to go on a little mini rant here, I'm sorry, but why is it that YouTube creators, you're making a video about something the man wrote, you love his work, you respect him, why not take 10 minutes to learn how to pronounce his last name? That's all it took me. 10-minute YouTube search, found some interviews with him. It's Tynion. It's not Tynion. It's not Tynion. It's Tynion. Think T-I-N-E-U-H-N. That's how you pronounce it. Tynion. I mean, yeah, I couldn't tell by looking at the thing either. I did a little research and I found out how to pronounce it. It's Tynion. Okay. Mini ran over. The art is by Alvaro Martinez Bueno. And I think I got the pronunciation on that right, hopefully. So this collects issues 1 through 6 of the comic book. And it's a limited series. It's going to end with 12 issues. The trade paperback that concludes it, Volume 2, is due out sometime in March this year. Like I said, no hardcover yet, but I am very hopeful. So this is one of those sort of horror suspense tales that is kind of difficult to review because it's very plot driven, although there's tons of great characters too, but it is a plot driven sort of thriller, in many ways. So it's difficult to review without being given spoilers, and I'm going to try my best not to. So to describe this, I got to think back to a 1983 movie that some of you probably haven't seen, and so if you haven't, go find it somewhere and watch it because it's a good one. The Big Chill came out in 1983, and so I think, and that came to mind right away as I got about quarter way through this thing, that it's sort of like The Big Chill meets Lost at the end of the world. That's my tagline for this. The Big Chill meets Lost at the end of the world. But unlike The Big Chill, which came out in '83, this is set now. This is the era of social media and smartphones and all that jazz. So that puts a whole different perspective on this. You have that existential dread running through the whole thing. It's very tense. And I know about existential dread, okay? I live that a lot. Try not to, but it's there, you can't deny it. And that just permeates this entire story. You have this you have the plot where you're trying to figure out, well, what the hell's going on? What does all this mean? But you have this feeling of impending doom early on, even before you actually see any doom happening. And it's very tense. It's very suspenseful, and I loved it. Loved every minute of it. This is crying out for a deluxe, oversized hardcover treatment. It really is. The art is beautiful. And I tell you what, the only thing keeping me from giving it a 10 out of 10 is the art. And I just said it was beautiful. I think the only problem with it, and you can see here in the scans I'm running, is it's a little too dark. Now, I don't know if that's the artist applying, too much ink. I don't know if it's a color issue. I suspect it's probably a combination of those two things. And I think if this was a straight up monster type horror thing, set in an old haunted house, 1940 style, I think that would be fine. But here, I think the murkiness of some of the scenes do not help the story, in my opinion. And that might be a minority opinion, because again, the art is fantastic. It's really beautiful. But at times, I'm like trying to figure out what the hell it's trying to show me. It's just a little dark. I wish it was a little brighter, especially, they're in this big opulent home throughout most of the book. And it's supposed to be this luxurious, just beautifully well-equipped vacation home, And it's very modern in its design, lots of glass and big open areas, and it has a movie theater, all these things. And I think there, if the art was brighter to show the modern, clean, futuristic lines that's in here, I think that would serve the story better. But instead, it still has this darkness and kind of murkiness to the artwork. Now, in other scenes where they're outside, maybe it's at night, it's perfect. You expect that. You got a fire going and whatnot. Otherwise, it's dark. That murkiness works really well. But when you're trying to show inside of a really stylish, modern glass, stainless steel, jazzy house like that, I think it should be bright. Show you that. I think that would have built it even better as far as the suspense. Because like, oh wow, they're sitting in the lap of luxury here. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? But nevertheless, it's a minor quibble and a minor offense to me that it's a little murky, because otherwise this thing just nails it. Nails it hard. And when you're reading this, and I'm sure you're going to be the same as me if you have read this, or when you do read it, you're going to immediately think, my God, this should be a movie or a miniseries. This thing, if this doesn't get picked up to be produced as a film or a series, I just can't imagine that it won't be. Yeah, that's my prediction. This will be on a screen, guarantee it. I'm picturing maybe 2 3-hour movies could hold it all. 3-hour movie for each trade, or for each half, because it's going to go 12 issues, and this is the first 6. And am I the only one that thought maybe Jonah Hill could play Walter? I'm just picturing with the glasses, dark hair. I think it's perfect casting. Let me know what you think down in the comments. But yeah, this is easily 9 out of 10 for me. If you haven't read this, you need to read it. Some may be thinking about holding off for that hardcover. That probably will happen, but maybe it won't. Maybe you want to invest in the trade. It's not super expensive. You're going to get it for, what, $17 probably on IST, I'm guessing. And I'm sure you could probably read it digitally somewhere. I can't imagine that it's not out there stream or on the digital platforms. So you could read it that way if you want to try to hold out for this hardcover that may or may not happen. I don't know. But yeah, the second trade to wrap this up is in a couple of months. So I don't know. It's awesome. I love it. And one thing about the art in it that is great and is Larry's Library approved is the consistency. You got one guy going through the whole thing. None of that jarring change up. So let's hope and pray that Volume 2 is just as consistent. But yeah, if you like sci-fi horror, yeah, pick this up for sure. Read this, and you'll be just dying to see the conclusion like I am right now. But yeah, this one's short and sweet. It's easy to do when you've got a book that doesn't collect 10 other books, with 10 other artists involved. So a little bit short. But yeah, I loved it. 9 out of 10 for me. And this could be another read of the year. I'm sure it's going to make my top 10. I can't imagine that I'm going to read 10 other things this year that's going to push this off. But maybe, you never know. But yeah, come on back for more. If you haven't subscribed, hit the sub button, bell notify yourself, and I'll see you next time.